Yeah, I want to hear this Apple Music story.
There is a curator over there. We sent the album, the artwork, all that stuff. Got back and was like, oh, I love this, guys. Can you meet me tomorrow? We were like,
Wow.
oh, that's cool. Yeah, let's do it. He's like, all right, here's the address. And it was Los Angeles.
We were on the Staten Island ferry coming back from the city, and we called our manager at the time, and we booked tickets right there. Same clothes, red-eye flight.
We literally Ubered to a Starbucks, went in the bathroom, brushed our teeth. We got on bird scooters, ended up taking the bird scooters to the meeting. We're sitting there like nervous. He comes up. First thing he says is, do you guys see I added you to A-List Pop? We're like, what?
Give it a year, I bet they'll call you a genius.
We have Fly By Midnight in the house. Yeah, audience clap, clap, clap. Fly By Midnight is an independent Los Angeles-based pop duo consisting of singer-songwriter Justin Bright and producer-singer-songwriter Slavo.
Yep.
They've accumulated over 100 billion streams. I'm just going to say that one more time. 100 million streams
Oh, I
in
thought
1
the
year.
first time you said billion, I was like, is that right?
No, million.
Oh, okay.
With over 330,000 subscribers on their YouTube channel and 3 million monthly listeners on Spotify, Fly By Midnight has been praised by tastemakers such as Billboard, BuzzFeed, Nylon, Huffington Post, and MTV, and are about to go on their Paint Your Feelings headlining tour, which kicks off this April and hits 19 cities. Is this your first tour ever?
Headline tour, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
like first, like
insane.
full proper one. That was amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
I-
That's
I-
your bio. I just read it.
No,
That was amazing. I wrote it.
I passed third grade.
What a coincidence. I actually penned it.
We have to start with how you guys fell in love with music. Were you kids? Was there somebody in your childhood that was like, you should be in a pop duo?
I'll let you start with your journey. I feel like
Yeah.
what's cool about us is our journeys are very different, but then
Ooh.
once we met each other, it sort
I
of
think it
clicked.
has a lot to do with how our music is the way it is too. But my journey started with, I was 10 years old. My brother had a drum set and I was kind of jealous that he got a drum set. And then the next year I told my parents, I think like Christmas rolled around. I was like, hey, I really want a guitar. He had the drum set. I had the guitar. And then it was kind of inevitable that we started the band and we were playing like dive bars. We had a couple friends from school and
Wait,
played
where
like-
did you grow up?
I grew up in Florida.
Okay.
So Justin and I grew up on the East Coast together, but we were in two different parts of the East Coast. Did that for a while. Ended up being like a quarterback in high school. Football was like a big passion of mine. Stepped away from music for a little bit, and then kind of I got to college, did a year of it, and was like, nah, this ain't it for me. Met Justin in New York, decided to move, and that was kind of all she wrote.
So when you say you decided to move, where did you move?
So I had family growing up in Staten Island, where Justin's from, and I'm sure he'll get into that. Kind of a coincidence that I ended up there, being that we're together now, but I had my grandfather was living there, and I had other family there, cousins, uncles, aunts, stuff like that. And so it felt like a good, comfortable place for me to move. I was 19 at the time. Did an apprenticeship at a studio in the city, in New York City. Did that for like a year and a half, learned a lot of stuff about the music business and studios in general and engineering and producing. And then I met a studio in Staten Island where Justin was doing his solo project. The couple there, the Laura and Joey, were like, hey, you should work with this dude. He's kind of young. You're young. You should work together, see what happens. And sure enough, we kind of clicked, and that was it, really.
Wow. So you kind of had no other backup plan in your life. It was just all...
No, I mean, my family has a business, and I was kind of working with them when I was in school. I was thinking, okay, if anything went wrong, I could always, lean on them, and they would be there to support me no matter what, which I'm really grateful for. It was music or nothing, really, in my head.
I think both Slavo and my parents are have just been so supportive from day one. And it's scary. I mean, your kid's going off to do something unorthodox. And I think manager Matt was telling me the other day, like 98% of people pursuing the arts don't get to live off of it solely for the rest of their life. And I'm like, that's a scary fact for your kid to go out into that world. And I'm so grateful that we have amazing parents that have from day one not only believed in us, but believed in Fly By Midnight. My journey is, Slavo, like he said, he was in the band. I started off in theater, and that was sort of my thing.
Was that celebrated? Because one thing I've learned about New York is that it's a very money-driven culture. Even though there's Broadway there, I feel like if you're not like working on finance, then it's really hard to do anything in Manhattan.
Yeah, which sort of brought us from moving from New York to LA to that exact point, because the music industry, the songwriting as a whole, that culture, it's just not really there anymore. It's sort of heartbreaking. But with that being said, I think, theater in school and starting off there, I was like the cool kid in the most dorky part of school, which I loved. And I love being a dork.
Big fish in a small pond. Yeah, me too.
Like I've always thrived around those sort of people. And then from doing theater stuff, I put up a YouTube cover One Direction, What Makes You Beautiful was the first one.
Man.
And I was working as a pool boy for 10 years. I mean, I started when I was like 14 there. I told them that I was 16, but I was 14 to get the job because I wanted money so bad, and I just wanted to like pay for cool, not cool clothes. It was like Mark Echo.
Video games.
But so were you playing instruments?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I played guitar, piano, both, you know, just like as a songwriter, not really
Yeah.
anything exceptional. Slavo's certainly more the instrumentalist in the
Yeah.
group, but more vocals was really what I was taking vocal lessons for years and really trying to, you know, like fine tune that instrument. But yeah, and then pool boy sat down with my parents, said, "Hey, I'm getting paid from this thing called YouTube."
So that was the thing I wanted to take a
Yeah.
step back. When you said it did way better than you thought, what does that mean?
You know, Staten Island, no culture there, no music there, really. 20,000 views in Staten Island was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
walking the hallways. Like,
That's actually
you know.
a good amount of views. I feel
Yeah,
like. Yeah.
and then from there, the second one, 100,000.
Do you think it was like because it was early YouTube days, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was timing. I did a piano cover of What Makes You Beautiful, and I think the notion of stripping down songs is something we all do now. We're so inundated with that.
Mhm.
I think it was relatively new
Yeah,
there. Like
yeah.
I like MTV Unplugged, those sort of that mindset. And I sat down with my parents and I said, these 3 YouTube videos have made me X amount of money. And at that point, it was I'm gonna do one last day working as a pool boy, and that was like a big discussion. Like I'm gonna pivot my energy towards something that I think I could grow. Because that was the beginning of me telling them that this is probably going to be my career. They were extremely supportive, was working out of that studio doing covers where I met Slavo. I sat down with the studio owners, Laura and Joey, and I said, "Hey, the YouTube covers are doing well. We need to stop doing YouTube covers." They're like, "What? But that's making money." I said, no, we have to write music. And we started writing music, and at that time, Slavo came into the picture.
So a lot of people meet, like, I mean, we've all had studio sessions with more people than we can count,
Mhm.
but you don't end up forming like a long lasting group with that person. How did you guys navigate who had like final say on the sound and like what the direction was going to be? Like, how did you go from just one studio session to actually wanting to do this together for the long haul?
I think it really started off as us just connecting as like friends and brothers. It really felt like a genuine connection off the jump. From there, I mean, we were so DIY. Like we had the couple that we were working with at the time, but like it was basically us writing the songs and me producing it. So everything was like a small team, the two of us, keeping that mindset for as long as we have. And to this day, honestly, we're still very DIY. It's kind of what formed like how we thought, and it just kind of eased into the process of how we go about songs and how we go about, you know, the creative in general. I'm sitting there on the computer producing music while he's over here making sure everyone knows about it. You know, every email is
that's
being sent. And
convenient.
the fact that Justin took a solo career and said, "Hey, I don't want to do this by myself. I see something else," you know, and the fact that he saw me and we connected that way, he's like, "No, let's do a male duo. I want to do that," and it just happened to work.
Yeah, I mean, I approached him with the idea. It was sort of, we started writing original music just for me. Spent maybe 6 months on it, and I'm like, something's not resonating. And then Slavo came in as just a producer to write on, you know, the solo project. And very humbly, he was like, "Oh, can I lay down a harmony or something?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't even know that you sing." and he sang something, and I think the next week I like made it a whole thing. I dimmed the room down. And I
Very
was
Made it
dramatic.
romantic.
yeah, and I proposed.
to.
Yeah, and the
And they lived
pretty sure he-
happily ever
yeah,
after.
literally. I really knew the first song we wrote together. That right there, I knew that if we had a shot at the career, it was that. You talk about delegating responsibilities and who has final say. We've never had a conversation on like who's delegating what. And
Well, no, even when you first presented it, you said we're 50-50 in this all the way.
Yeah.
So it's not like anyone has
Wow.
any, you know, it's not like he was like, "This is my solo project and I'm
Yep.
letting you be a part of it." It's like, we're doing this together if we're doing it. So
we filmed our first video together. It was for a cover of Hotline Bling
Oh
by
my.
Drake. And it was
Fucking love that song.
and it was such a fun cover, and it really showed like where things were going to go. We filmed a music video for it. We filmed something that looked very professional and beautiful, and we showed it to the studio owners at the time, and they were like, "Wow, this is great." And both Slavo and I were like, "This is not it.
Yeah.
This is what everyone's videos look like. It looks great. It has a couple of nice angles and depth focus." And so we went out of the hallway right after, set up both of our iPhones like this, and performed like 4 times looking back and forth at the camera, came back in, edited it, showed it to the team, not taking away anything from them, but they were like, "This is a massive mistake," and we just uploaded it on YouTube.
And that was what you...
And that became the brand of us. And I think the first original video, we both went into our savings. I mean, I certainly pulled out Pool Boy Fund of the Century to make
that was
happen.
another big lesson too early on, because our first video that we put out, we were like, okay, we want this to look really cool. We want it to feel like big budget. And at the time, it was a lot of money for us. I think we spent like a little over $5,000 on one video.
That is a lot of money for starting
For the
artists.
first original video, that was a lot of money.
And
We
that's
were
the one you
kids,
turned
too.
down?
No. That was the first
geez,
cover.
Imagine.
That was for the first song we wrote together, Brooklyn.
Okay.
But since then, we were like, hey, listen, this video did what it did, and the next one, can we do it a little cheaper? The next one, can we do it a little cheaper? Because we figured, these videos are great and they're all going to look good. And a lot of it comes down to marketing it properly. A lot of it comes down to the quality of the song itself. The visual sometimes doesn't really matter as much. And these days, we'll shoot a video for $1,000 that we'll put up, you know what I mean? And where we're at.
But I always say the best art is not the best art if it's seen by no one.
Right.
So there is a level of, and I probably preach this too much. If we put all the budget into a video and then we have no budget to do anything else, no one's going to see anything.
One thing that I thought was really interesting about you guys, a lot of artists just dream of getting signed by a label. Like, that's the win. They assume that when you get signed by a label, you've made it. But I was reading in your bio and your notes, like, that you're a fully autonomous project. So were you guys ever signed? Did you want to be signed? How is it that you're able to do what a signed artist is able to do without actually being signed?
It's so interesting because we've always searched for a platform to really talk about this properly, because one line of fully autonomous, people are like, autonomous, and then they move on.
No, I need to know.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Like Slavo said about the DIY thing, I think in the beginning it was a necessity. No one wanted to sign us for a long time.
And we took the meetings,
Sure. Yeah, and we got called in, like Epic Records brought in, sat with the head. This is great. We're like, okay, well.
How did they find you?
Probably cold emails, knowing Justin.
We met with several majors. Frankly, the one that we got the farthest with, I think the last meeting we had after 4 meetings and pretty much getting there to signing was, I could walk across the hallway. I'll get you the deal. You guys are going to hate me. You guys are going to hate me, and you're going to hate this whole thing. And we're like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, you move too quick, and around here, look how many people there are. You move too quick. I think he sort of got the idea that we're so hands-on that in a label infrastructure, there's a lot of people that get paid on salary to do a lot of these things, and you only work the hardest for yourself. And I think he knew that us signing with not only him, but any label, we weren't going to be happy.
I think he also helped us avoid making the mistake that a lot of these TikTok artists are making these days. You know what I mean? That their stories are totally different because they blow up overnight and basically set themselves up with this awesome song, and then a label comes in and takes it from them. He saw that we're hustlers. We want to put out a song every month. We want to build a fan base by just giving them content, and labels are like, hey, let's take a year and figure out what Fly By Minute really needs to be. And he's like, I don't want to do that to you guys. So kudos to him. Yeah,
because we told him you bring up a great point. We were like, hey, if we sign with you, this is what we're going to do. And we were really calling the shots. And he saw that we were growing this the right way.
Yeah.
And slow burning. And he was like, I think you guys should just do what you're doing.
What I love is I feel like there's so much success and you guys really created it yourself. You did not get lucky. What would you say is the biggest obstacle that or the biggest risk you feel like you're continually navigating?
Honestly, I think it's kind of the opposite of what you're asking. The fact that we're continuing to do it on our own and not taking certain risks, I think is where we kind of live comfortably and why it's been going so smooth and on an upward trajectory. I think if we were let's go with the label, let's do this, I think that's kind of where I would be scared, because who knows, that's a variable that's never been touched before in our career, really. Maybe risk-wise?
Well, risk-wise, I think as we're getting bigger, we want to try new things. And with that sometimes comes bigger checks being written. Because essentially, Drive By Noon's our label. Fly By Midnight, Drive By Noon. Everything that you see is Drive By Noon, and that's
Walk By Morning.
Yeah,
yes.
I love that. But that production company is our label, really. And when you see a song reacting, then you do throw more money at it. And maybe Slavo, while he's producing, making the most badass productions, I'm wearing a bit more of the weight of the money stuff.
That's a true point too. When it comes to our money, I probably don't even know how much we have in an account right now. Yeah. I don't even look at it.
Yeah.
But he just manages it all and he takes care of shit. And I'm like, thanks, bro. I'll just keep making music. The point is, I don't have to worry about this shit, which is nice. He's able to take on that and let me just make the music sound as good as it possibly can, which
Yeah.
is why we work so well together.
And I see that sort of trajectory still going up.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I'll let you go back to your Apple Music.
Yeah, I want to hear this
story.
Apple Music story.
I think
So
you'll appreciate this.
there is a curator over there. At the time, Justin had sent one of his famous emails, and we were putting out an album called Rerunning.
It's our first album, right?
It was our first album, and
Quick question.
Yeah.
Do you think that they wouldn't have received the email if it was from Justin?
That was for me.
Oh,
I think
Okay.
I had grown out of my Chris
Chris.
days.
Okay.
check
at
the
that
receipts. We'll find out
Yeah.
if that's true or not.
point. Yeah.
okay.
But I'm
Okay.
sure it was. And we sent the album, the artwork, all that stuff, just like saying, hey, this is our album coming out. Just want to send it. Hope you like it. Whatever you say. I don't know. He's very good at that. I'm not, obviously. And got back and was like, oh, I love this, guys. Can you meet me tomorrow? And we were like,
Wow.
oh, that's cool. Yeah, let's do it. He's like, all right, here's the address. And we were in Staten Island, New York at the time, and it was Los Angeles, the address. He's like working out of the Apple Music
And
building.
we are on the and you'll appreciate this being in New York. We were on the Staten Island ferry, coming back from the city to Staten Island, and I look at Slavo and I'm like, hey, he got back. It's in L.A. and we called our manager at the time and we booked tickets right there. And did we go to Newark straight from there?
my
We
God.
flew
I
out
think-
of JFK or Newark.
Or
I don't know what it was.
and we bought toothbrushes on the way, same clothes, red-eye flight.
We literally Ubered to a Starbucks, went to the
Brushed our
bathroom, brushed our teeth,
teeth.
got on like
'Cause that's important.
Yeah.
we got on
Boys.
bird scooters. We rode the bird
In New
scooters
York?
for like
No,
this is in
L-
after
Oh,
our
in
flight
LA,
when we were in
okay.
LA.
we literally went straight to the airport.
Yeah.
No bags. Yeah.
Wow.
Ended up taking the bird scooters to the meeting, and then the cool part of the story is we're sitting there like nervous. You know what I mean? We're excited. We're like young, and this is the first time we're putting out like a record. We're like, oh my
First time
gosh,
we've
we're in
heard
this-
back from anyone in that sort of
Yeah.
power.
We're in this really
Yeah.
cool building. Apple is obviously, Apple's Apple, and he comes up, super nice. First thing he says is, "Do you guys see I added you to A-list pop?" We're like, "What?" And that was kind of like our goal, was like we wanted to get on some kind of cool, awesome playlist from Apple.
Whoa.
And yeah, that was pretty much the story. Sat down, talked to him about the album.
Did he know that you just booked a flight and showed up with?
I don't think he knows this
I don't
day.
think he
Maybe we
knows.
did. I think
You
we
should
told
have
him
let
recently.
him
Maybe.
know.
Oh,
He
you
would
know
have
what?
added you to,
Recently-
like, so many more playlists.
Yeah, yeah.
Recently
He'd be
we
like,
told
wow,
him.
dedication,
Yeah.
Wow.
dedication. Like,
Yeah. But it was kind
The deep
of
cuts.
it was kind
Chill
of crazy
hits.
because
Yeah.
looking back on that, like we didn't have enough money to like freely say, well, let's just book the flight. I remember we were like, well, is this gonna be worth it? We don't have like a ton of money right now. It was like an overnight flight
Yeah,
that
it's so
soon,
expensive.
so
Yeah.
expensive,
Yeah.
and yeah, in that moment, and I remember. Do you remember? We're waiting in Starbucks because we got there early, brush our teeth, and you are on discmakers.com printing our first physical CD for the album while we're waiting.
wow.
Like it was just like that was a big culmination of Fly By Midnight.
And that's
Yeah.
never changed too. Like the album we just dropped, I still haven't done the art for any kind of physical, so
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
still got to get
It's
that
coming,
done. Maybe
yeah.
that's today. Who knows?
So-
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna play a game. The thought behind it is every time you get in the studio and you collaborate, you never know what the other person is gonna bring, and
Mhm.
you just have to add to it. So since your tour is called the Paint Your Feelings Tour, I figured we could all collaboratively paint something while
do it.
writing something. So I feel like the
Love
way it works is somebody's gonna play a chord progression, somebody's gonna paint something, somebody's gonna write a topic, and then we're
Cool.
gonna rotate.
Sweet.
I
Yeah?
am so
I
curious.
have no
how-
idea how this is gonna go.
but we're gonna go for it. Like I feel like under the covers, like
I've been living under the covers, but like almost
all
about, like,
this
getting-
time.
Yeah, I've been living under the covers all this time.
you were starting this way better. I'm
Yeah.
so glad you were starting
It's
this.
grass, honey bunch.
I'm all about it.
But
It's
I love
better
that
than
line. Under the covers all this time.
under the covers, and I don't know why. Burying feelings, I got all this looking in your eyes.
I kind of like I've had all this time. Like I've been
Yeah.
bearing the feelings I've had all this time.
You dressed in all that way.
Yeah, like that. Camera.
And I don't try.
I actually like that a lot.
That was a pre, and then
1, 2, 3.
under the covers, and I don't know why. Been burying feelings after all this time. Looking at you dressed in all that white. No going back, nah, no going back. If this is the start, then we got it right. So what are you doing for the rest of your life? You got a sunset look in your I wanna lay in it, I wanna lay in it till I die. Some shit like that. Da 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 da. Yeah. Heartbeat so bitter, the days I can't believe it, can't breathe. That was like 13 minutes of a pretty damn good song.
Yeah, I actually think it's pretty cool.
And-
I'd be down to finish
And an
it.
even better
And I
painting.
really liked My Anteater.
You could keep the painting.
And even
I'm not gonna put
I
that
want it to
over
be
my
on the-
mantle. You can put it on yours.
See,
My wife's gonna
now I'm a
love
little bit
this.
offended, but that's okay. Whatever. I digress. That was awesome. We
That
did the
was so
thing.
fun. Yeah, we did
And
the
honestly, Paint Your Feelings and the album's called Fictional Illustrations
And
too.
it's out today.
it
That's
is.
I
crazy.
guess it'll be like out for a couple weeks before
But-
we release
Yeah, yeah.
this.
But it's awesome to spend our awesome morning
Yeah.
with you.
Hi, my name is Layla Perry, and you're watching Under the Covers, my show about the risks taken, the mountains climbed, and the victories behind some of the biggest game changers shaping culture and entertainment today. It's suicide! Jeremy Fall!
Yes, chef?
Max Lugavere. Mari Llewellyn.
It's me,
Glenn Coco. Drumroll. Graham Bunn.
Scott Hansen.
Greatest intro ever.
Give it a year, I bet they'll call you a genius.